Hey Hada, what's happening in Melee? So many things because we've taken another big break. And by we, I mean me. I think Hada, you would be a little bit more down to get into recording perhaps more often than, let's see, the last recording was in early March. We were looking ahead to Collision, and all of a sudden, it is July 10th, late at night. We'll see how quickly we can cut it off before we get into July 11th for me specifically. But there is a lot to catch up on. It's going to be a challenge. Let's just run through it. The first thing I want to point out to the lovely listeners who are exclusively listening, I do video uploads on Spotify and YouTube, even though, again, like we're not doing this every week anymore. And sure, we don't know when exactly the next recording is going to be, but we do have video for you to check out. If you don't like YouTube, you can check out the Spotify. I don't know if they do ads on it yet. I assume they probably do by now, but I'm going to, for the audio listener's sake, warn you, we're going to do a lot of looking today. So let me already go to the looking. We're looking at recent results, and by recent, I mean starting with Collision, because we have 5 majors that have happened. Now we've had some regionals. I mean, shout outs to, oh my gosh, Patchwork, Donkey Kong, Junebug is out here representing the monkey, the DK Renaissance in full effect. So we won't see Junebug winning. We won't see Junebug winning Patchwork. We won't see, how about Cody winning some event also that I saw. He 6-0'd Aklo, so that was unfortunate. Right, Gridiron. Yes. Shout outs to Gridiron.
OG Kid got 5th at that tournament with a crazy run. We'll talk about that because I got a shout out.
You got a shout out. Well, I was watching OG Kid's run through losers to get to top 8, and then his top 8 match versus Balloon Day, and those were great sets. Seems to be really in control of what he does. And we're looking forward to the rest of the growing arc of one of our youngest gaming lads who plays Melee on a regular basis. And also Wizrobe winning CEO. You won't see that on this list either. That was not a major, but Wizrobe won CEO over Hungrybox. And the pivot grab, the butt pivot grab. There's a great video made by, I now forget who did the video. Oh, this is annoying. I should have prepared that to shout out the right person.
Rockman or PTAS or something like that. I know it's on Twitter. I saw it on Twitter.
Not PTAS. Although shout outs to PTAS. I do love PTAS, just to be clear. But here are the majors. We have Collision, Battle BC 6, Pat's House 4, Get on My Level X, and Tipped Off 15. So you can pick a tournament or two here to talk about. Hada, let me turn it over to you. Let's hear how you're doing too. How are you doing? Tell the people.
I'm good. And since we're doing a lot of looking, I don't know if I've told you, Jesse, I'm officially married. I'm a married man. So we went to the courthouse. We signed the papers. I wear a ring now. She wears her ring now. Our ceremony's still in September, so like I haven't said my vows yet. But it's in front of our Lord and Savior, the government and the tax people. I'm a married man, so there you go. So doing my thing. Doing a lot of working out, trying to take care of myself because I'm really focused on making this version of Hada the best Hada that he can be. So that's the very rough catch up for me. So
congratulations.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So the first 2 tournaments I wanted to look at, and we can go ahead and look at Collision and Battle of BC. You kind of just see this power struggle for the top with like these 3 outrageous players. You get your Zane, you get your Cody Schwab, you get your Amsa. So, and then you have this myriad of foxes. You have your Mango in top 8. You have your Hungrybox in top 8. And also notable, Hungrybox lost his top 8 streak. I don't remember which tournament. Was it Battle of BC?
No, it was more recent because I think it was. I want to say Tipped Off 15.
It was Tipped Off. Yeah.
I mean,
Tipped Off was the first tournament in like 15 years that HBox had top 8. That's crazy.
I mean, I also want to shout out, to my mind, a very real event, the off season, which is put on by oh boy. See, this is the problem with not doing podcasts about Melee often enough, is now I can't remember who throws on off season for us.
It's
Hitch.
Yeah,
That's right.
Hitch a Ride.
Yes, Hitch does amazing with that tournament, but it doesn't count because we're on Mute City or whatever. But
Yeah.
this is the moment that I've been waiting for a long time. Not to say that Hungrybox is washed because he's in the middle of an ultimate detox, but I think nothing screams Melee more than someone committing to Melee more and somehow playing worse. Or you just come across hard matchups.
Yeah.
That's also a real thing.
I mean, these foxes are getting crazy.
Mango, Mango and
Mango's playing nuts.
and Moki.
Moki, Soonsei, Josh Man, Salt's doing stuff, Magi's doing stuff.
Josh Man winning Phantom this weekend too. Oh my gosh.
Josh had a
Over Skurzo, yes.
Yeah, the Sheik too. Josh the Beast. Yeah, and like you're seeing a lot more of these consistent players at the top end, and of course you can't count out J-Mook, you can't count out Amsa, and so you have like this power struggle for like these top 5, like this guaranteed top 3. I think, without a doubt, is somewhere of Cody and Zane, and then it's like J-Mook or Amsa, and then Mango, I think, is like probably going to round out your top 5, and it's in some order. I think the top 2 is pretty contentious. I'm going to give it to Zane for the summer. I think Zane's been pretty spectacular. I also think Cody is, but if it's not Zane, it's Cody. If it's not Cody, it's Zane. It's that. Those are your top 2 for sure.
Once again, very, very close. It was close last year. It's close again this year. That's just they are our 2 best players for sure. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, absolutely guaranteed. I think it's going to be really interesting, like where the hair split for 3 through 5. So you're going to get probably a Mango, a J-Mook, and an Amsa probably round out that number. Maybe even Moki, honestly. And then you kind of have like, there's a big blow up. Like there's like 5 through 10 is going to be really interesting because you have H-Box, you have Salt, you have Soonsei, Moki, Joshman, Magi, like there's a lot of names that can be tossed into that group. Wizzy, I don't think has the attendance. I don't think Plup has the attendance, but they definitely have the skill for sure. I think Leffen's still in the skill contention, but just hasn't touched the game and focusing on Strive and have been performing really well from what I understand in Strive and in other games. So, big shout outs to Big Leff. And the rankings period is going to be interesting, and I think that when it really boils down to it, like this top 10 is as in contention between 5 and 10 as it's ever been in all of Melee. Like there's just so much talent right now.
And to be clear, the reason why we say Cody and Zane are the class of Melee right now is because for these majors, you can see that it's Cody at Genesis, Zane at Collision, Cody at Battle BC6, Zane at Pat's House Force, and Get on My Level X. And then Mango winning the only, again, Wikipedia I trust more than the Twitterverse about what is and what is not a major. Mm-hmm. And so, Mango winning tipped off 15. I mean, a lot of the top 50, top 100 talent attended tipped off 15, even if it didn't have, I want to say it had maybe 300 400 entrants, not like
it was
super,
really, really top heavy, like the top,
very top heavy. Yes,
64 was crazy. Like
oh my goodness, absolutely. And I really appreciate, because we are starting to deal with continual ripple effects of 2022 and the fallout of the Panda Global Cup, the US Championship. I forget. I don't really care.
World Tour?
Well, the Smash World Tour, yes, but then there was also Panda Globals doing their whole thing with the Nintendo team up, which turned out to be so awful. But the falling out is real. The falling out continues to affect us, because if you look here, the viewers at home and listeners, audio listeners, I'm scrolling down, you'll see that the Big House 11 is here in 2023, but there's no Big House 12, the Big House 12 in 2024. That is our big topic for the night.
Yep.
We have gotten an announcement yesterday from the man himself, Juggle Guy, aka Robin, who has been running the Big House since the very first Big House, which was originally supposed to be kind of like a regional leg of qualifying players to be flown out to Apex, if I recall correctly. And it has ballooned to our big three. It used to be Evo, Genesis, and the Big House. Those were our big three tournaments. Evo went away starting in 2019, as I recall.
Yeah, and then it really became the question of, especially if you're like a top level regional competitor, and I had a conversation with DSJ about this, and in some ways this is kind of a good thing. And in this one way, and this is the only time I've ever agreed with Big House not being a thing is a good thing. There was always this divide for players who weren't already at the top level. Like, perfect example, Magi, before they hit top 100, Big House was their only major that they went to that year, and they made top 64, which then gave them the confidence to go to Genesis the next year, and then they beat Mango.
Yeah.
So you kind of like, as this up and coming talent, especially if you're young or you don't have a lot of PTO or you don't have a ton of expendable income, you choose your Super Bowl, basically. Usually, do I go to Genesis or do I go to Big House? Because it's one's at the beginning of the year, one's at the end of the year. And for a lot of people, you know, people like Fizzwiggle, you know, people like Magi spun back in the day, people like, I don't know, like Inogen, people like international players as well. So like people who can't afford to fly to the States 2 or 3 times a year. They pick their one. They go to Genesis, they go to Big House, they go to Evo, they do CEO or whatever. And so now, in a weird way, and this breaks my heart because Big House was my favorite tournament series. Rob is a dear friend. We're linked through volleyball. We actually played some volleyball at this past Big House. We had peppered around, and that was really fun. So yeah, I love Robin. Fucking love Rob. And I'm glad that, you know, it's really cool. He's expanding on his coaching career. He's coaching a varsity program now. He was coaching club previously, and so now he's able to start coaching a little bit more consistently. He's also not in a full-time job though right now, so that's his main project, and that's how he's paying his bills, and God knows I know that can be stressful. So when it really boils down to is like, I'm happy Rob is, you know, taking time to figure himself out, to know that he does not have all the heart, he doesn't have all the bandwidth to really push Big House as hard as he can this year, especially with the logistical struggles with the Kobo Center. But, you know, now in a weird way, Genesis is going to be insane. Genesis is going to be nuts. If you're a Melee fan and you're not going to Genesis every year, you know, it's going to be hard not to justify it. So, you know, Genesis is going to be Mecca going forward. You know, that's going to be, every Melee player goes on their journey. They point themselves west towards, well, it's not San Diego, it's San Jose, California, and we go to Genesis and we do it. So nothing but love for Rob and the Big House staff, especially everyone who made Big House such a special event. This past Big House was so special to me because I could spend my birthday with my Colorado Melee friends and got to travel for the first time in a long time, and I was really glad I was there. So big ups to Rob and all the Big House team.
I remember in 2022 when I feel like there was a little bit of momentum for me specifically. I, of course, never flew all that close to the sun, but when I got a chance to interview Robin on the podcast, this here podcast, we had a really great conversation, and he kept in touch after that, and he said, love to have you at Big House, and invited me more or less, not like it's not like rolling out the red carpet, but just saying, like, if you want to do something at Big House, we can make it happen. And I go, you know, because for me, I'm not in the category of how much though, Robin. No, for me, I'm like, I am there for sure. Definitely would love to do that. So that was really nice of him. I ended up, I recorded live. I was the first person, or the first show of the content day, and yes, very sparse crowd because it's me up there with Jake Spear and with Oates. They were amazing with me up there. They carried me super hard, and I was really happy that I was up there with them because I knew I was going to need some people to bounce stuff off of. It would have been very weird for me to be by myself, and we had so much fun. That's where I met Flashburn, who I later was able to have on the podcast and talk to. And I don't think keeping in touch is quite the right way to describe it, but the other thing that Robin did for me specifically was he said, I can get you Scar. I said, well, I didn't ask. He said, that's okay. He connected the two of us. I got to talk to Scar on the podcast, which is not like my favorite interview ever or anything. But when you get to talk to Scar for longer than 2 minutes in a, hey, thank you for doing what you do in the middle of a tournament setting, that's fun. But it's more fun, yeah, when you get to have people on the podcast. It'd be cool to talk to all kinds of people, as I have done. Hada, you know, I've interviewed a lot of people on the show. I love interviewing people who nobody really wants to hear from, but then they might say, never mind, that was super fun, Jesse, that was a cool recording or episode. But when you get to have a whale, when you get help for whales, you're super thankful. That's how I am with Robin and what he's done for me specifically, and he fulfills that times a million, because like I was saying before in the build up to the Big House taking a hiatus, is that it's been going on since 2011. One of the big community rallying things was around the Big House Online, where we were going to use Slippy. Nintendo shut it down, and we did 5 days of Melee. And it was because this tournament series means so much to not just you and I, and not just to one side of the United States. It's everywhere. And everyone who knows of Melee can think of a really fun tournament set that they say, oh, this is one of my favorite sets of all time. Oh, this was a really hype sequence. And they won't go far without mentioning something that happened at a Big House. Maybe not from Big House 7. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. You had a great post Grand Finals interview. That was fantastic. I love that. That's Brandon at his finest. At his finest. Always keeping it real. But remember Mango versus Zane, the Big House 9. Remember the Big House 5, and now one of my
5 is my favorite tournament of all time.
And one of my like retro favorite moments is Android and Armada versus Pew Pew U and SFAT for doubles grand finals, and how amazing that set was. And then of course Big House 10, the only one that I attended, and I feel bad for not having gone to last year's. I should have, and I feel bad now because of this announcement. But for the Big House 10, aside from getting to do content, that was also AMSA's ever first win for a tournament of this size in the United States. First ever major win. It was over Mango, and somehow the crowd, like normally the crowd will root for Mango over all else, but we were seeing something magical happening. And besides Slime and maybe Blur, everyone else in that venue was on their feet and jumping up and down when that happened. It was an incredible grand finals. And the low-key, the Mango versus Zane set of Big House 10, where they went game 5 in winners quarters, I was just watching that back tonight. That was an incredible set. It just, most people won't remember it because it wasn't part of a Mango winning the tournament run, but that was the first time Mango had beat Zane in a while. I was honestly expecting him to get washed 3-0, but Mango gutted that win out, and then went on to lose the tournament to AMSA. But it was so fun being able to say I was there in the room when AMSA finally, after literally EVO 2013, first major attended in the United States, and all those years later, 9 years of traveling to the US, going back and forth, finally getting the one. And then of course other tournaments since then, but that was the first one. I could say I was there. It was amazing. I mean, what do you remember from last year's Big House other than getting to play volleyball with Robin and hanging out with your Colorado homies? Anything else that you remember?
Yeah, I mean, God, it was kind of crazy, honestly, because it was the first big tournament I had been to since before the pandemic. And so there were friends I hadn't seen in like 4 or 5 years, like that I was running into, you know, my friends from Cincinnati when I was living down there. It was so, you know, what was really funny actually is I was playing doubles with Dark Genix with Justin, and we were playing, I asked him to play doubles and we were playing Giant Melee instead. So he taught me Giant Melee, and some guy taps me on the shoulder. He goes, "Hey, Hada, how's it going?" And I'm like, "Hey, bro, how are you?" And he goes, Hoborg, and I'm like, oh my god, I had just never
Hoborg.
I played with him. I played him in ranked. I played him on unranked. I've commentated him 100 times, and of course he knew I didn't know his face, and he's just like, I'm like, oh shit, dude, how are you doing? And so, yeah, me and Hoborg were hanging out. I got to hang out with a lot of the Pittsburgh crew. I hadn't seen the Pittsburgh crew in so long, and it was just really cool. And oh my god, who's the Peach player? Well, I was hanging out with Billy, with B-Bats, and it was Fahey. Fahey from Tri-State. And Fahey comes up, and I was talking to Billy because I had just gotten asked to commentate Top 24 and Top 48 from Hungrybox. And he goes, hey man, so excited for you. I hope to commentate my set, blah, blah, blah. And we are just kind of catching up on the tournament, just catching up in general, because love Billy. Absolutely love Billy.
Oh my gosh.
And Fahey goes, yo, Hada, how's it going? It's first time meeting you. I'm Fahey. And I'm like, nice to meet you, dude. How's it going? And he goes, dude, I was expecting him to say something about commentary or something about whatever. I was like, dude, your combo videos inspired my Peach so hard. And I'm like, what? Like,
As they should.
Thank you. And so it was like the first time, like a good, like not even just an okay, like a very good Peach is like, yo, my punish game is better because I watched your videos. And I'm like, that's crazy, dude. Like, that's nuts. And so, like, that was also very cool. I got to see Zeke for the first time in person from Golden Guardians. Love Zeke. And then Zeke came out to Altitude Sickness out here in Colorado, so I got to see him again. And that was really special because, you know, he's such a gem. He's such a great guy. Got to catch up with Studebaker Hawk. I got, you know, it was just one of those things where, and then, like, I just got to see so many people, got to make new connections, got to reconnect old friendships, and then like, so my birthday was on Sunday, on Championship Sunday, and
shout outs.
It was me, myself, Fishbait, Miyagi, and Jank, who are all Colorado players, but Fishbait had just gotten ranked top 100 that year, and you know, fellow Peach player, fellow Colorado Peach player, you know, just hanging out, and smoking a little bit, kind of hanging out, doing a thing.
Just get a little stupid.
Yeah, stupid. And we had this brilliant idea. I'm like, bro, it's like 1 a.m. None of us are playing tomorrow, obviously. Like it's top 24, and I thought maybe Armand, but Armand got out at like 37th or something. And I'm like, you guys want to get White Castle? And so we got White Castle at 1 a.m. and ate just smoked and ate and laughed, and it was just like a dumb thing, but it was so special. And then what was so funny, because this was the one that Cody won through a ridiculous losers run, and my buddy Miyagi, who is a very much so a Cody Schwab box, where he does not the crazy technical flashy things, but some of those technical things where like you don't see it, but like when you actually watch it back, you're like, wow, that was crazy, he did that. And it was very optimal, very refined punish, and very neutral heavy Fox. And he was so hyped. He was the most hyped person in the room. Every time Cody took a stock, got a combo, took a game, he was on his feet like, let's go, Cody. And I'm like, there's not a single person in this room cheering for Cody louder than my boy Thomas right now. And it was really cool. So everyone's like cheering for Obsted, cheering for Zayd, and then here's just Thomas in the corner like, let's go, Cody, let's go. All love to Cody, obviously, but oh my, it was a very, very memorable tournament for myself. Getting to connect with Smash Magazine as well. He hooked me up with a hat, which was also very cool. So that was really special, you know, connecting with artists and creators and streamers and people who I just like had spent a lot of time, you know, talking to via Discord or streaming with or doing all these things. And it was just a really good opportunity for me to just connect with all these people who I felt like I had known already. But, you know, perfect example, you know, Hoborg taps me on the shoulder. I don't know his face well enough, but he knows me. So, you know, getting to make relationships like that. And I got to reconnect with people like Majersk from Pittsburgh, and it was just great. And it's something that I miss because I already have people from Ohio, like my buddy Blessy, who very, very cool Pikachu and cool combo video guy, and a really, really good friend for a long time. He was like, when's the next time I'm seeing you? Big House again this year? And I'm like, maybe, I don't know. And I'm thinking about CEO in Florida, but you know, it's now that Big House isn't a thing. I don't know, man.
It's tough.
To see those people.
It's tough.
It's really tough.
And look, for the East Coasters and Midwesterners, Detroit's really nice. It's not great for people who live in Texas, I suppose, but it's very doable for the East Coast for the most part. I mean, I would say for the East Coast in terms of convenience, Atlanta because I guess it's not technically Atlanta itself, but very close to Atlanta. That's where tipped off tournaments are. And shout outs to Ohan for somehow getting like all the top talent in Armada to come and commentate. Like those are really cool things. But for the Big House, it's the Super Bowl. It is a top 2 event for us. It's going to be really sad that moving forward it's in purgatory, it's on hiatus, and a lot of people acting like it'll never come back, but we know that it is going to take a decent amount of things to change for Robin's circumstances to make him want to come back to this, and then making a good point and saying it's not as easy as you think. There's not a big line of TOs who want to take on massive 5-6 digit level financial risk to make this event actually go. And then the other thing is that there are no Golden Guardians and there are no Beyond the Summits. The resources for making majors happen and requiring all these deposits for booking venues and then having internet for streaming events, which is more and more becoming problematic. It's going to force us to, as a community, to have to get creative and be realistic about convention centers, because when you get to that level, it's not just a matter of you getting to set up your own equipment. It's the union in the convention center setting things up and then being charged an arm and a leg and maybe 2 hands for being able to stream one stream. And then you have to do that again for multiple streams. So
the bandwidth needed and the internet access, the power and the hours. You know, we used to be able to leverage getting 24-hour venues, and that's not a thing anymore. You know,
especially for these big ones. Yeah,
these logistical problems, and I feel a lot of people's like, oh, just get another TO to do it, and it's like, what if it flops and you're out 75-100 grand? You know, like it's a lot of money that you have to put up, and then you have to not at this point.
Sorry, just thinking of Ludwig.
You just don't have the star power that the Big House name brings, and that brought a lot. You know, the legacy, the establishment, the history that came with the name, the Big House, brought the consistency with the numbers. If the event was held and it was reasonable and it was 3 days and it was the whole thing that we're come to expect, it is one of those mecca events where people come out to it. People have that expectation that this is the Super Bowl. We have to come out to this. If you want to be a competitor, you have to show up. And that's why it's, you know, I'm hoping there is a realistic spiritual successor to Big House this year. I don't know if that's going to be Supernova. I don't know if that's going to be, you know, that CEO Daytona or whatever is going to happen towards the end of the year that's going to get that little pseudo bump. But when it really boils down to it, it's not going to be the Big House. You know, there's still going to be that hole. There's still going to be that level of expectation that's still going to be hard to, you know, that gap is going to be really hard to fill. So if it happens, it happens. And unfortunately, you know, you bring up Ludwig. Ludwig's the last big name we got. I don't know where else who's bankrolling Melee anymore, but I think it's just Big Man Lud. But I can see he's
Egg Dog is trying to do stuff. I mean, they got their invitational in Vancouver later this year, and then I'm trying to remember, was it Luminosity? I mean, they sponsored Wizzy and Sunsei, so that's been our biggest sponsorship announcement this year, I think. I mean, shout outs to B-Bats for getting sponsored to Lucky 7, if I recall correctly. But I think
right, yeah.
I think in terms of our top talent, because Wizrobe's top 10, if not for the attendance problem, but that's about it for sponsorships. That's it. It stops there, I'm pretty sure, because I'm racking my head, and I'm telling you what, I don't think anybody else big player. I mean, thank goodness. Oh no, if I say it out loud, our arguably top 1 player, not Zane, but the other one, we want the other one to stay sponsored, so I won't say anything. Such awful luck.
Knock on wood. Oh god. But I do want to give credit to, you know, it's not Melee obviously, but I'm addicted to Rivals too. That game is really good. Like, I hope that game continues to blow up. I hope that game continues to get funding from people like Ludwig, people like the Mogul Moves team, and their conglomerate and their collective. I made some really good connections with the lead developer as well as their head of esports for our event that we held here in Colorado called the Fall Showcase or the Spring Showcase, and it was one of the first big tournaments that they had for their open beta, for their closed beta, sorry. And you know, I connected with those guys, and I connected their head of esports because he's a big Ultimate Frisbee player, actually.
Oh man, yeah. See, I'm playing on 2 teams this summer season now, Hada. I'm getting deeper into it.
Myself and SBS, you know, connected over College Ultimate and Club Ultimate, and that was really cool to talk about. And I connected him with Slumlord in the Esports Athletic Club because that's how Grant and Tony met, because they played Ultimate together. And so there's just this Ultimate Frisbee and volleyball collective out there. And
I have mixed feelings about volleyball before this announcement, but now I'm looking at volleyball sideways. That and Kobo Center, come on, I get it. You guys love volleyball, but it's literally taking Robin away, or kind of. I mean, also Kobo. Anyway, please continue.
It's really cool to see. You know, I was really happy to like help them make that connection because you know they're starting to do business. Like I put them all in a group chat, and I'm like, hey, you guys are all really cool people, and you all have a bunch of common hobbies, and you're trying to do cool things. So you should do cool things together. And so I was kind of put that together. So I hope I get a little bit of love and kickback from that. But hey, no promises, and I'm totally fine if I'm just, you know, hey, Hada guy's pretty cool. I'm like, all right, that's fine. Oh, also speaking of you know, people, you know, Aaron Battery, the other guy. So he was actually out here in Colorado for a long weekend, and we got to link up and we got to hang out for a bit. He came over for dinner, and we went to a
That's amazing.
market. I got to meet his girlfriend. He might be moving out here, so.
Oh, that's cool.
Weekend.
That's cool.
Yeah, so and he's a big volleyball nut, of course, and you know that.
Oh yes.
So big shout outs to Aaron. That's my boy. I really hope I get to see him more. Obviously, he's super sick. But you know, we'll see. It's just. It's so crazy, and I think that's kind of like the point I want to hammer home today with this recording is, as you know, as some people will look down on you for being a competitive gamer or being interested in video games, like, oh, it's a waste of time. When it really boils down to it, I have met so many amazing people through this game. And because I think the game moves cool, I think the combos are sick, I just think it's fun to play. And I found a bunch of other people who felt the same, and they just all so different, many different walks of life, so many different perspectives and creeds and mantras that just all come together and be like, yo, Melee is sick. Melee is so cool. But I also do all these things. Do you do these things? I do those things too. Let's be best friends. And I have so many Melee adjacent people coming to my wedding, which is also wild to me, but they're all just good people. And it's not that I'm just inviting Melee players to my wedding or going to farmers markets with Melee players or smoking weed and eating internet, not internet.
Bracket anyone? Dubs anyone? But
it's like, my point being, it's like, I don't just spend time with these people because they're Melee people. I don't just play volleyball with these people or go to farmers markets or smoke weed and eat White Castle with these people and spend weird nights talking about random shit. It's just because they're good people, man. And this game brings together good people, dude. And that's why I keep coming back. You know, I'm gonna be 28 by the end of the year. I'm gonna be married. I'm gonna be looking at, you know, God, do I have kids soon? Like, what does my career look like?
Whoa, kids! Oh my gosh!
I want to be a dad so bad, dude. I want to be a T-ball dad so bad.
You're besides pet dad. Shout outs to Luca and Breakfast.
Oh, Luca, Breakfast. We also have Sadie too. I don't know if I've shown you Sadie.
Oh, please tell me Sadie's a cat.
Sadie's as a dog.
Oh, my heart.
Smooth collie. They're all playing right now.
That's okay. You're fine. I love Sadie. I just love other certain individuals more, just a bit.
You love Breakfast. You love Breakfast a lot.
It's tough. Breakfast was in my heart first, and I remember me meeting Breakfast. We were vibing like instantly, and Breakfast is a great cat, so I don't get to control that just because I like cats. But Breakfast knew I was a real one and treated me as such.
And that's what we love to see. We really do. Yeah, so guys, get a cat. Like if there's one thing you hold on to after this whole podcast and after all this rambling, just get a cat. Like it's never a bad decision.
These tweets, by the way, in response to Robin's Twitter post, I guess it's like all the whole X thing. Anyway, Twitter X. You should all check it out. These are your favorite TOs, top players, community members, content creators, and people outside of the Melee sphere who may have been Melee adjacent, and they know how important the big house is, how important Robin is to it. So again, it's really sad, but like you were saying, Hada, being in a gaming space that tries to be welcoming and safe for all people who want to be involved with it is very rewarding, and you meet people who become friends and might even be in the rest of your regular life, and you find out you have other things in common. And I miss my 717 peeps so bad. I was supposed to go to a tournament on July 20th, which is not this upcoming Saturday, but the following, but I found out that I cannot because I have something that is just a bit more important that I have to be away from a great tournament that we'll be putting on. It's a charity event tournament. So if you happen to be near the 717 Central PA area, check out the shelter. But anyway, these are just the cool things that happen when you're in the Melee space. We have to talk about one more thing, though. The big topic is that you got games being canceled because of multiverses being the bit of a sludge monster that it is. Now, a game that's a platform fighter meant for doubles sounds great. They just blew up the execution part of it, or I should say the gameplay. The gameplay is not great, and Leffen puts it well, because Leffen plays fighting games and other platform fighters, and obviously Melee, and is really good at all these things. So that's a good source for figuring out why a game not good. But when you watch the gameplay, Hada, and you already know this because you've seen the Smash sequels to Melee, you've seen other developers with their version of platform fighters. You've played most of them, and some of them are going to be really fantastical. We are all really hoping that Rivals 2 pops TF off, and that it's part of our way of surviving.
I can with whole heart, full chest say it is the best platform fighter outside of Melee, and that's including P plus and PM.
Oh, the P plus people.
3.6. I thought PM 3.6 was great. It's not. It's like Rivals 2 is so much better than P plus. I'm gonna say it.
Wow. Well, shout outs to P plus still, because they did just a recent 3.0, which is now 3.01 whatever, but they're P plus is still out here making things happen and trying to do balances on their top tier characters like Donkey Kong and so on. I don't want to be disparaging of any other platform fighter besides Melee. I wanted to talk about this a little bit, though, because my general thoughts about what... Okay, so let me back up. Riot, which makes League of Legends and Fortnite or whatever, and they're also making that fighter, the 2x KO or whatever it's called. It's confusing. I think I like the Project L name better, because that just is...
Project L was pretty cool, but I think it was too reminiscent of Project M.
I don't care.
They just teased a new character. They teased Braum, and Braum looks really cool. I will say that much. I'm not a traditional platform guy, but the game looks good.
You mean traditional fighting game guy?
Yeah, I wasn't super big into Street Fighter. I wasn't super big into fighters, stuff like that.
Street Fighter is slow. The more I watch it, the more I go, this is... I mean, I guess if this is... There's just a bunch of, dare I say... I can't. Not in front of you, Hada. I wanted to talk about Riot Games canceling. They were making a platform fighter, or trying to develop a platform fighter. They had people working on this behind the scenes, according to this @leader Grev on Twitter X post. And it more or less says, well, they were developing it, and now they are not. Partially because Multiverses has been pretty not well received. So are we going to be able to really push and sell this game? Because again, developers make games and make products for selling, for money, and you can pretty much just follow the money. They shouldn't have even considered a platform fighter as potential money making, in my humble opinion. But going back to the post, they say something that I always feel like happens. Okay, here we go. In this tweet, it says, originally envisioned as a hardcore fighting game, the pitch for Pool Party, which was like the code name, the pitch for Pool Party changed over the course of development, shifting to include party game elements and casual friendly mechanics. The change in scope and vision frustrated some staff on the project. Yeah, no duh. Sorry, this is me talking now. I cannot overstate how I feel like every single time somebody in a developer situation who wants to make the game says, I would like to make a game that is reminiscent of Melee, that has cool, fast, awesome gameplay, that has a reasonable entry level. We can't make it like Melee because, first of all, everyone is very used to a buffer system in modern fighting games. I mean, maybe you can speak to this, Hada. Is there a noticeable buffer system in Rivals 2?
No, it's rollback. So it's very, very smooth. It plays like Melee, frankly. Like it has the same controller feel, same reactor, I guess like input to like action delay as Melee does. It's pretty instantaneous.
So you're saying that it doesn't have a big buffer, like, because Melee has small buffers, but not a lot. Are you saying that Rivals 2 is the same?
It does not have a lot of buffer. No,
really?
Not a lot of yeah.
That's a departure from the norm. That's awesome.
It feels really good. No. So the vision for Rivals 2, this is coming from the word of the lead developer, it was to make a game that, stayed true to like the hardcore Melee heads that like want a fast, technical, crazy game, but without all the hand pain that comes with it. So there's definitely a lot of quality of life things, like you can remap buttons. There's some shortcuttable things, like there's no jump canceling, so you can just dash into a smash or into a strong attacks, things like that. There's no L canceling as well, so like there's little quality of life things that kind of just like take a lot of like the super crazy execution out of it, but it still feels like it rewards fast, technical, precise movements and plays. So it's a good thing, straight up.
When you have good IP, I guess, Riot is very popular. I don't care about any games that Riot puts out. You like League of Legends. That's Riot, right?
Yeah.
Right, sure. So, imagine League of Legends characters in a platform fighter. I mean, this is basically what we're talking about with this the scrapping of this development on, again, Pool Party is just a fun code name, but they would have switched it to something that I would have liked less because, again, I'm still stuck on Project L for their traditional fighter that they're releasing soon. Anyway, I'm trying to make sure that I tell everyone and that they all know this, for the few of you who will ever watch and listen to this, is that you will have people try to make games that are similar to Melee, because nobody wants to make a game that's exactly like Melee. You'll try to make it similar, and you'll try to have the feel be similar, the gameplay mechanics be similar, but what will always inevitably happen is the big corporate heads who are sitting on your head will eventually say, so how easy will this be to market to everyone as like a playable game, because we want to sell as many copies as possible. And Melee very famously only sold like 8 million copies or whatever, just an absolute trash fail of a video game. And then this is what happens. Either this or the project just kind of flops before anything really actually happens. So when I saw this, Hada, that's what I thought. Also, reaction, not surprising at all that it's been scrapped. I love that Multiverses has partially something to do with it, and I get to look back at people who wanted to make a good game and just were probably told by people who know nothing about how to make games, yeah, make it easy to play. What do you want from a game? You are only knowing how to make money. Let the people who know how to make games make the game. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, and it's crazy, like, because multiverse is trending on Twitter right now, as a result of this new news. And the funniest tweet I'm seeing in this thread is, multiverse is genuinely so ass that it got the Riot version of Melee canceled. You can't make this shit up. And and then the second one, it's just less crude, but it's like, multiverses was genuinely so bad that it changed the trajectory of its genre's growth. Legendary flop. And I agree, the game is really bad. It is so bad. And the thing is, I don't think it was trying to compete with Melee. I think it was trying to compete with what's the other free to play one?
You're not talking about Brawlhalla, are you?
Brawlhalla, yeah. That was its original vision, because it was supposed to be 100% free to play. It was supposed to tackle like the really young age demographic, because Brawlhalla has a really young player base because it's so free and so accessible. And I think that's actually what they were going for, is they were trying to be a Brawlhalla competitor, because Brawlhalla's player base is huge. It's ginormous. And, I know it doesn't get like a lot of developer support. I'm pretty sure the developers of Brawlhalla like aren't even raking in that much. They kind of just hit the gold mine with like making a very solid free platform fighter. And I think like Multiverses was trying to push the envelope so hard with the marketability, all the characters, the LeBron James, the Rick and Morty, the this, the that, and the trailers were funny and they looked kind of cool, and it looked like a decent game, but you have to have a good game. The game has to feel good to play, and when it looks like you get hit and you're stuck in molasses, like, it's just a bad look. It's not a good look.
Even Sakurai couldn't make another Melee game. It's like, it is just impossible. So hopefully Rivals 2 captures elements of Melee that people like, the responsiveness, the snappiness, the feel, the speed. But I like that Rivals, again, I mean, they do things like you were saying that are different, and I think that's great. I actually don't want to see a situation where people say that Rivals is only supposed to be like Melee and we're only going to compare it to Melee. No, Rivals 2 should be compared to like all modern needs or wants of like a modern platform fighter. So I don't look at Rivals 2 and say it needs to be exactly like Melee. I'm not even asking for a game to be exactly like Melee, but if someone's going to do it, I am of the opinion that you're not going to succeed. So don't even bother. Like, we have Melee, so just make your own thing. And if your own thing is multiverses, if you want to waste all that time and effort and let the corporate overheads bully you into doing those kind of things, maybe a shorter development cycle is what you need in order to create something great, because they just don't have enough time. Because how do you know this? We've been a little bit disillusioned by the machine of the world. Some of these people, if you could do something fast enough, they would not have enough time to catch up and be like, wait, stop, because they have too many things on their own plate. So if they get time to circle to you, it's like, ugh, the fun's over. I can just picture someone telling the Multiverses team they're supposed to do this to make the game more accessible, and just leave it unread, like, oops, never mind. I don't know, just fun little scenarios in my brain.
I mean, if you have the opportunity to try Rivals 2, Jesse, I strongly recommend it. It is a phenomenal game. And that's not just because, I made those connections. I got to know the Rivals team, but they're all just a bunch of old Melee heads, like, straight up. Like, they're all a bunch of old Melee heads and who have already made a successful platform fighter in Rivals of Aether 1, and now that's just... It literally feels like all the best things from Rivals 1, plus a lot of mechanics from Melee. Like, Rivals 1 didn't have ledges, it didn't have shields, it didn't have grabs. And, it's now Rivals 2 has all those things. It's just cool, man. I would strongly recommend trying it out, because I am a diehard Melee head. I actively hate playing Ultimate. I hated playing Smash 4. Brawl was okay. I like 64, but Melee, if it's not Melee, I don't want to play it. And this is the closest thing to feeling like Melee that a game has ever been for me. And so it gets my vote of confidence 100%. So guys, support Rivals 2 straight up. The beta backer is still available. And it's all a good thing. So I strongly recommend trying it out, because I do think that it does have a very long esports life cycle.
And like I was also saying, Rivals 2 succeeding means that.
I got her.
Oh, breakfast!
I got her.
I love you so much.
He's a brick. She ran away the first time I got up to see she was in the corner, and she ran away. But I scooped her with one hand. She's like, "Dad, put me down."
I can see the expression of being mostly not pleased. Like I don't.
Mad at me.
Yep.
Hi, Breck. She's pissed.
Shout outs to breakfast.
Yeah. So for all the video, all the non-audio only, well, you can see my cat.
Watchers, you got to see breakfast. Audio listeners, you got to miss out on a breakfast sighting. It is what it is. Again, I don't know if Spotify does ads for watching podcasts on their platform, but I know that a long time ago they didn't, but it's probably changed by now because, again, the machine, ultimately it does catch up.
Yeah.
And that's everything from me as to what's going on in the Melee sphere, the Melee adjacent places. It's been a pleasure to watch these tournaments this year. I really love the Mango working out arc because no one made a really big deal in the Melee sphere about my getting in shape and becoming a less heavy person, but I live a little vicariously through Mango's working out and going on bikes.
I'm on the same journey too right now, dude. Like I'm
shout outs to you
now. I'm dieting. I'm trying to make lasting changes right now. I'm on like if I envision the status of my life, I hit the reset button on pretty much everything, and I am just trying to be the best version of me that I can be. And we're doing it one day at a time. Consistency, guys. Drink water every day. Treat your body like a temple. Brush your teeth, for God's sakes, like, because that's attractive.
Well, drinking water actually helps a lot with that kind of thing. If you think of it, if you drink less things that are not water and drink more things that are water, it does help. I'm not saying you have to cut things out. I'm not even telling you or anyone else who wants to or doesn't want to go on a fitness journey. Like, everyone has to go on their own thing. But if you find something that works for you, what works for me is not going to work for other people. But if you find something that works for you, it's super rewarding. And there are people, if you're in the Melee spheres particular, but if Smash Ultimate, I'm sure that the Esports Athletic Club won't hold this against you. You can hop into their Discord, and you can get started on a fitness journey with some other gamers who love gaming and love gamer food and lots of it. And it's tough. It just sticks to you. But
it does. This all fast food and all takeout out of my diet.
It's hard. It is so hard. So
easy.
I'm with you, Hada. Hada, I'm with you. I know. It is like, as a person who loves to do anxiety eats, I'm totally with you. I'm totally with you. It is hard not to eat just absurd amount of food when I'm stressed out. So like it is possible. I was quote unquote overweight, however you want to phrase it. I was not in shape for 8+ years, and then I was able to have things click in my brain and finally control the food that was going in, and that was what helped me lose weight. For other people, it's gonna be different, but once you find what works for you, it's gonna be great. Although drinking water is seriously like that, I can't recommend that enough. You should definitely be drinking water every day, not some days, every day. Please.
Yeah. And that just kind of reminds me of my old sign off. I think back when we were in the trenches doing this every week, and I think I'm just gonna throw it back to it, guys. Like and subscribe, follow the pod. We don't do this as much anymore. I wish we did. We'll try. We will try to do. I'll put effort to try to do it more if Jesse's down. But of course, we are a two-man. We are a team. We are partners in this project, and if we're both down, if there's time or if there's a topic that we're both passionate about, we'll try to talk to you guys about it. But last things for me, I'm at Hey Hot on everything. I'm not posting or gaming or streaming too much anymore. I am sending off my clips to an editor that has Rivals 2 and Melee, so shout out to my main man Blessy, who's been putting out some really cool comm videos. He said he would throw me a bone. He says my clips are cool. He said he just wants to work with them and play with them, and he'll put a video together for me. And I'm like, hey, that's my guy. So I'm gonna send those off to Carson. And if you guys, I'll tweet about it when that comes out. I'll tweet about it, so you'll at least see that. But I'll let Jesse do his thing. But guys, just drink water, love yourselves, and that's it for me, guys. But if you ever need anything, just reach out. I'm here for you.
For those of you who want to see this be more of a regular thing, you do not have to feel shy about letting us know on our Twitters or in Discord, because I am in a fair amount of Melee Discord, so it's Cypher003 there as well. When you see this, when you are plugged into whatever you're listening and watching us through, you will see in the description of those platforms, there's a link to the Discord server where it's bottom of the Smash Mountain Discord server. I used to have it closed up only to people who were on the now shut down, it's shut down now, Patreon. But it is public now, so I don't expect there to be a wave of people coming through and saying you should continue to do this. But there are perhaps someone who is similar to where I was in 2018 when I once again saw something Melee come across social media, and I go, oh, that's so cool that they still have tournament events happening for Melee all these years later. And I just get a little curious. You check out a live stream, Hungrybox, yes, fucking fuck, and you go, wow, this is awesome. And then you watch Genesis 6, and then you just kind of like, all of a sudden you are plugged in, and then all of a sudden you are talking to people in the community, and you find out everyone's super nice. You start a podcast, you somehow get the attention of one of our prestigious, goated and what's Mount Rushmore TOs and Robin and Juckle guy, who says to you, I'd like to work with you. Like, these are the little things that might happen if there is a person out there who says, I probably shouldn't get super involved in Melee, even though I like following along. And you really do. You clicked on this, but we would love to talk to you. The Melee community is here for you. So I'm excited to talk to whoever may pull through. We will be doing a recording, maybe not next week, maybe not next month, but we're always coming back. We're looking forward to Supernova in August. So, hey, why don't we see if we can do something in August before I go on vacation at the end of the month? All kinds of little things like that you can look forward to. But for now, thank you so much for tuning in.
All right, you guys be good to each other. See ya.